Hello to all. Greetings from New York. Pleasure to be here with you, even though virtually. I know it's 3 or 2 p.m. in Ukraine. I'm recording this in New York at 5 p.m. my time on Wednesday. Thank you for the invitation to join you on this important meeting. I want to discuss or present to you what we have done in open government and tell you what are the key issues and what is going to happen in Ukraine in the future. So those are my 2 subjects. What is open government? People think it's actually a new thing. Well, I guess the idea is probably new, but if you look at the concepts, it's probably very old. So I'm going to explain to you what's it all. So let me show you on the screen what I mean. So open government has 3 pillars. One is transparency, which is an all governance pillar. So what does it mean? We have open data, we have access laws that allows citizens to get information, and then demand transparency from governments. That's one of the pillars that we hear all the time. The second one that you hear, and is actually very common, is accountability. And you have seen that this particular one has been linked to anti-corruption efforts. So in many, many countries in the region, for example, they're focusing on anti-corruption based on accountability. But accountability is bigger than anti-corruption. For example, we include social audits, which means what? That citizens can organize and assess government issues beyond anti-corruption. The third pillar is participation, which is the way we engage. So we get together, we network, we act together, we collaborate, we provide voice. And participation is one of the key pillars of governance. And all this together we call democratic governance, which we do in UNDP for the last 20 years. So what's the difference today? The difference today is that we have ICT, so technologies, who are going to enable us to do things in a different way. Okay, but don't forget this. We have 3 core pillars, which technology enables them to become different and transformative. And I want to call this 3 items PAT, participation, accountability, and transparency. And these are the 3 core pillars for governance. Now let me skip to what we do in UNDP in e-government, or e-governance, which is related. We have this, I will explain this, it's actually, so you see we are working in different areas. E-administration, e-services, e-participation, and different other things. Just to have an idea of what we do in e-governance, which is related to open government. We see this, we see you, citizens, in this way. On the one hand, you are a client of the state. This is the sort of the typical issue that we always face. The state or the government offers us services, and we pay for them, we get them. But what we never hear is this other hat that we have. We are stakeholders. We are, or we should be, part and parcel of policy-making processes. And that's very important. So these 2 hats enables us to be part of any governance process. Now, participation is not something new. It's been around for many, many years. It's a basic human right. It's in the chart. So this pyramid tells you that we have different levels. UNDP is very good, for example, to doing information and awareness and consultations. But the other 3 levels, which are part of the Open Government Initiative, are more difficult to accomplish, especially the last one. Now, we are through partnership with CSOs, with NGOs, with people like you, to be in control with governments on different things. And this is something that we are missing in many of these discussions. So participation in what? This is how we make policies in the country. We have an agenda, somebody setting up, for example, telecommunications policies. Then we have a policy that addresses that particular agenda. The policy is implemented, there's a law passed, and then we implement and we monitor. And then we go back and see if we need to change that. So what we need to do is be part of this. So it's participation in this cycle, which is important. It's not participation in anything, and in this, and the different layers empower us citizens to be engaged more strongly in these processes. So then you go back to open government. There's a rationale here. There's a connection between these three pillars. So the key pillar in UNEP's perspective is participation. Without this, there's nothing. So let's go back. Accountability is being shown as the main objective of the government. But to get accountability, we need transparency. So without transparency, there cannot be accountability. Because if I don't know what's going on, I cannot take anyone to account. But to get transparency, I need to be part of something. I need to be able to participate in processes so I can demand transparency and make that accountability. And technology enables us to start here, empower us. Think, for example, social networks, mobile phones, empower us to be part, more easy than before, in many of these processes. So this is what we call open governance, because it's not about government, it's about how we run things in government, and that we call governance. Now in Ukraine, to close, you know we have an action plan. And the action plan has probably 31 or 32 priorities. So the challenge that the Open Government Partnership is facing today is how do we implement all these 31 priorities in 1 or 2 years? And that's going to be very difficult to do, in my opinion. So what you need to do during this meeting is to look at the action plan and try to see which of the 31 priorities are actually priorities for you and agree on implementation in short and medium run. And that's important that you agree on this, because if you don't do this, then nothing's going to happen. So you can take this task as governments to do these 5 or 6 things and then think of the other ones. Second point, and final point, we need to measure how is this affecting citizens. So one thing is to implement, but we need to assess, take stock, and then go back and redo if we need to. Now, OGP, the partnership, is facing these issues. There is no clear framework for implementation, and there's a clear framework for evaluation and impact assessment. The UK and Indonesia are now the co-chairs of the OGP. They're thinking about this. But you can also help them by trying to implement this in your country. So I also invite you to, in this meeting, to think about how can you implement with your collaboration, you being partners of government to implement, and also how would you measure success or failure? And then go back to the drawing board. And then bring this to the colleagues at the OGP and other countries who can actually implement this. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can email me, or you can go through Oksana, who are a colleague in Ukraine. My email is my first name, Raul, R-A-U-L, @undp.org. Thank you very much and have a good meeting.